If you have a job interview coming up soon, you do not want to miss this presentation because within it, I am going to give you my 7 last-minute interview tips and tricks. This tutorial is designed to help you to pass your interview, and this is what I'm going to cover. So I will teach you the best way to prepare for an interview if you have very little time left available. I will give you my 7 important last-minute interview tips to help you be the standout candidate during your job interview. I will tell you exactly what to say at your interview to pass, and I will then tell you how you can access further resources, including these slides, to help you succeed. So, what's the best way to prepare for an interview if you have very little time left available? Well, the best way to prepare is to focus your efforts on understanding what the interviewer is looking for from the successful candidate. And all of the 7 important last-minute interview tips that I'm about to give you will enable you to achieve that goal. Let's get into them. Last-minute interview tip number 1. Make sure you read the company's website and their social media pages. So if you read the company's website, make sure you look at their About Us page. When did the company start? And what do they do? Have they won any awards or have they been recognised for anything of significance? Now, when the interviewer says to you, what do you know about our company? You will be able to answer the question with confidence. It will give you something to talk about. You should also take a look at their social media pages. What are they currently involved in on social media? What are their latest good news stories? And make sure you look for something that makes them appealing to work for as a company. So when the interviewer says to you, why do you want to work for us? You can reference what you have seen on their social media pages. Last minute interview tip number 2. Make sure you look for key words from the job advert and use them in your answers to the questions. So the job advert will provide a description of the duties and the responsibilities the successful candidate will need in the role. And you should be looking for keywords from the advert and then be using them in your answers to the interview questions. So one of the main responsibilities might be having an ability to work under pressure and also to multitask. So you could say in your answers to the interview questions, I'm very good at working under pressure. And I always manage my work so that I can take on as many tasks as possible. And by hiring me, you will have the peace of mind that I will always take on lots of different tasks and projects and complete them to a very high standard. Because that's how you are going to be assessed against the job description. So you need to reference keywords and phrases from the job advert in your answers. Last minute interview tip number 3. Have your answer to the interview question, tell me about yourself, already prepared. This is crucial. Now, the first interview question that you will need to answer is going to be, tell me about yourself, or they might say, introduce yourself. It's the same thing. Now, if you can answer this question well and with confidence, it sets you up with confidence for the rest of your interview. So here's how to answer the interview question, tell me about yourself. Now you will notice here on the left-hand side of the page in red, I have highlighted 3 things: skills and qualities, experience and education, and the type of person you are. Now this is what's called the SET method. This is something that I designed a while ago to make it easier for you to answer the question, tell me about yourself, because it sets you up with confidence for your interview. So in your response to the question, tell me about yourself, talk about the skills and qualities you have, the experience and education you have, and also the type of person you are. Here's my example answer to the question, tell me about yourself. Thank you for inviting me to be interviewed for this position today. I have applied for the job because I have the skills and qualities needed to excel in the role. I am a fast learner. I am great at working under pressure. I can manage a large workload. I am a supportive team worker and I will always take care of your customers. I have several years' experience working in this sector, and highlights of my career to date include helping my former employer increase sales by 25% and helping the team I was a part of to successfully launch new company products. I am the type of person who has very high standards, and if you hire me, I believe you will quickly see a positive return on your investment. That's a brilliant model answer that utilizes the SET method, S-E-T. So you might want to take a note of that. Last minute interview tip number 4, write down your strengths and weaknesses before you go into your interview. So knowing your strengths and weaknesses gives you lots of things to talk about in your job interview. It also prepares you for the interview question, what are your strengths and weaknesses, which comes up during 99% of job interviews. So here's a list of good strengths and weaknesses that you can use in a job interview. Let's take a look at the strengths first of all. You are a fast learner. You are a strong communicator. You are a supportive team worker. You are a resilient and confident person. You are able to work well under pressure. You are flexible and adaptable. You are resourceful, which means that you can turn your hand to almost anything. You are adaptable to change, so you can embrace change positively. You are trustworthy and honest, and you are a disciplined person. So those are really good strengths that will be attractive to all hiring managers and employers. Let's now turn to the weaknesses. Now we have to be really careful with the weaknesses because we don't want to give a weakness that is a match for the job we are applying for. So these are all really good weaknesses. You have a fear of public speaking, or you are not yet confident at speaking in front of large groups of people. You are not very good at giving feedback to other people. You focus too much on the details. You are always trying to please everyone. You can't say no to people. You are not aware of your full potential. And also you lack confidence in certain situations. So those are all really good weaknesses to give when they say to you, what are your strengths and weaknesses? So let's have a look at an example answer to that common but difficult interview question, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Here's how I would answer this question. Here we go. My strengths include the fact that I am a fast learner. Now this means I will come into the role and I will learn everything quickly so I can start contributing to the team goals in super fast time. I'm very good at working under pressure. I remain calm and composed, and I have the experience and knowledge to produce solutions to challenging problems. I'm a strong communicator, and whenever I deal with your customer or clients, I will always act as a positive role model. Now, in respect of my weakness, this is the fact I'm always trying to please everyone, and I find it difficult saying no to people. This has resulted in me taking on too much work in the past. However, I am the type of person who always wants to improve and develop, and I am learning to be more mindful in these situations. That's a cracking answer. You are loading it up with about 4 strengths at the start of the answer. You are giving one weakness, an honest weakness, and you are then saying that you are trying to improve. That's how to answer that common interview question. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Last minute interview tip number 5. What's your greatest achievement so far? So knowing your greatest achievement or your greatest achievements gives you something positive to talk about in the interview. It also allows you to answer the interview question, what's your greatest achievement? If it comes up, it is popular during interviews. So here's a list of example achievements that you could use. Here we go. Number 1, helping your team win an important contract for your employer. Number 2, suggesting a change to working procedures or policies that improves efficiency at work. Number 3, working on a challenging project at work that ended up being a huge success. Achievement number 4, winning awards at work or being recognised by your boss for outstanding work. And number 5, helping the organisation to increase sales. Those are really good examples of achievements. And the last one is perhaps you've been involved in a workplace charity event that raised money for good causes. And you will notice here that I have given a list of achievements that are all work related. Now, unless this is your first job and you've not been in the workplace before, try and give an achievement that is work related. Of course, if you've not been at work and you're a fresher or it's your first job, give an achievement outside of work. Last minute interview tip number 6. Now, this is really important because this is how people pass interviews. Be positive and avoid any negative talk. If you are negative about anything, and I'll give you some examples in a second, you won't get hired. Okay, positivity is attractive. So always be positive and make sure you smile during your interview. It's very important. A smile is contagious. It doesn't matter whether your interview is online or if it's face to face. Smile and be positive. Do not be negative about co-workers or your former boss. Remember, they are looking to hire someone who can make a positive difference to their team. And they're probably going to ask you the question, why do you want to leave your current job, or why did you leave your last job? Here's how I would answer this question, being positive. I left my last job because I felt ready for a new and exciting challenge with a fresh and innovative employer. I thoroughly enjoyed my last job, and the team I was a part of achieved some brilliant things whilst I was there. My boss was very supportive and she gave me lots of opportunities to grow and develop professionally. However, I felt it was time to move on and seek employment with an organisation that was at the cutting edge of its industry and that had exciting plans for the future. That's positive. A lot of people, when they answer the question, why did you leave your last job, will be critical of their former employer or their co-workers. They'll say, oh, my co-workers weren't very energetic. I didn't feel that they wanted to achieve that much. That's being negative. Don't be negative about your former employer. Be positive throughout your interview and smile. Last minute interview tip number 7. Now, I told you that I was going to give you 7 interview tips. I'm actually going to give you more, and I'm then going to answer some of the more frequently asked questions people ask about interviews, such as how long will my interview last? How many questions will I get asked? How early should I be to my interview? So make sure you stick around for those. But here's the last minute interview tip number 7. Think of 3 smart questions to ask at the end of your interview. So they're going to say to you, that's the end of the interview. Do you have any questions for us? Now, some people will say, no, it's okay. You've answered everything during the interview. That's not the thing to say. I'm going to give you some examples here of smart questions to ask in an interview. I'll give you 5, and you can then choose 3 of them to ask at the end. I wouldn't ask all 5 because the interviewer has other people to interview and they've got to assess you at the end of the interview. You don't want to take up too much of their time. Here we go. What advice would you give to the successful candidate who wants to do a good job in the role? Number 2, what's the culture like in the organisation? Question 3, what are the plans for the company over the next 5 to 10 years? What would you need me to concentrate on in the first 30 days of starting in the role? It's a great question. And here's another one. What, if anything, has frustrated you about people who have held this position previously? There's 5 smart questions. Pick 3 of them and ask them at the end of your interview. Here's a bonus interview tip, last minute interview tip. Make sure you close the interview in a positive way. So at the end of the interview, they'll say, that's the end of the interview. Thank you very much. So don't just get up and walk out. Say something positive. Here's how to close an interview. I would say, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be interviewed today for this position. I've really enjoyed the process and learning about your company. Now, I appreciate you have lots of people to choose from, but if you do hire me, I will not let you down, and I will be a high-performing, trustworthy and loyal member of the team. Thank you very much. Now, that's the last thing they will remember you of. That's the last thing they will remember about you when you leave that interview room. It's a very positive statement. So say something like that at the end of the interview. Let me now answer some of the more frequently asked questions relating to interviews. The first one is, here we go. How early should I arrive for my interview? Well, if the interview is face-to-face or in person, aim to arrive at the interview venue 20 minutes before. So you want to be waiting in the reception 20 minutes before your interview. However, if the interview is online, log on to the platform, whether it's Zoom, Skype, Microsoft Teams, whatever it is, 10 minutes before the start of your interview. But you should make sure you download the interview platform the day before your interview. So if it's Zoom or Skype, download it the day before, familiarise yourself with the platform, but then log on 10 minutes before the interview is due to start. Second question about interviews: what should I wear to my interview? This is a real common question. I shouldn't need to tell you, but what you wear to an interview says a lot about you and your intentions for the job you're applying for. Now, regardless of the job you are going for, wear a smart outfit that is clean and presentable. This doesn't mean to say you need to go out and spend money on an expensive Armani or Gucci suit. It doesn't have to be expensive, but just wear something smart and formal. It shows that you are serious about the job. Question number 3, how many questions will the interviewer ask me? Well, ordinarily, the number of questions you will need to answer will be between 8 and 12. But this number will increase for technical related job roles. So if you were applying, for example, to become a software developer or a web developer, you will get asked more questions. Question number 4, how will I be assessed during my job interview? Well, you will be assessed against the job description. So make sure, as I said at the start, read it and familiarize yourself with the document. And you can then reference keywords and phrases from the important document, and that will help you to pass your interview. Question number 5, what should I do if I cannot answer an interview question? This is a good question. Well, if you can't answer an interview question, don't worry about it, but you basically have 3 options. Number 1, ask the interviewer to come back to the question later on. This gives you time to think about your response. Number 2, be honest and say you don't know. Just say, I'm really sorry, I do not know the answer. But this is the one I would choose. If I don't know the answer to an interview question, I would say, I don't know the answer, but I will get back to you. Once the interview's finished and I get back home, I will email you the answer. That's how I would answer that question. Sorry, that's what I would say if I can't answer an interview question. What do I do if I don't have any work experience? Well, don't worry. They have invited you to the interview based on your resume or your CV. So just focus on your strengths, your skills, and your qualities, and tell them that effectively you are a blank canvas and they can train and develop you up to be the perfect employee. Use the fact that you have no work experience to your advantage. And question 7, I'm really nervous. What advice can you give me? Well, this is common. Of course you're nervous. You should be nervous. Now, being nervous is natural. If you weren't nervous about your interview, you probably wouldn't really care about the job. So it's a good thing. But remember, the worst thing that can happen is you don't get the job. It's not the end of the world. There will be other opportunities. And I'm saying this because I want you to pass, but I'm trying to get you to get rid of those nerves. So I'm not saying be blasé about the interview, far from it. But just remember, nothing bad's going to happen. It's an experience that you can learn from. So take deep breaths, smile and be positive. And remember to prepare your answer to that first interview question. Tell me about yourself, because if you get off to a flying start, it gives you confidence for the rest of the interview. Now, if you'd like a copy of these slides and also answers to my 21 tough interview questions, click that link right now in the top right-hand corner of the video. It will take you through to my website, passmyinterview.com. You can get a copy of these slides, and you can also get model answers to my 21 tough interview questions. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe. I am on a mission to help as many people as possible to pass their interviews. I can only do that if you are subscribed. I will help you throughout your career. Don't forget to give the video a like, and you can also connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to. I've put my LinkedIn link in the description below the video. It's always great to connect with like-minded professionals such as yourself. So good luck with your interview. Don't forget, be confident, be positive, and go for it. You have absolutely nothing to lose. You can pass your interview. It doesn't matter whether you've got it coming up in an hour or tomorrow. You will be successful. Be positive. Good luck in your interview. Thanks for watching, and have a brilliant day. Thanks.